When are the worst and best times of the year to visit the Tampa Bay area? It's not always warm and sunny here, so knowing when and when not to go can make all the difference between a perfect trip and a regrettable experience. I live in Tampa, so I'll tell you the truth about Tampa weather as I film this beautiful, relaxing sunset over Tampa Bay. This is Owl's Relaxation. We create scenic and relaxing videos. We hope to earn your subscription today. This video is sponsored by people like you. We'll explain later.
I see we've got a nice color glow starting.
Why trust me about Tampa? Well, there's a few reasons. For one, I live in Tampa, but I'm not a native Floridian. So I'm not about to tell you that 40 degrees Fahrenheit is cold winter jacket and boots weather. Let me explain what I'm seeing here, then I'll continue my reasons.
The sun is still quite high in the sky, but we are getting, I would say, some white beams very faintly coming out of the center of the sun and extending pretty high up into the sky. But we also have a layer of dark clouds that could do some interesting things on the horizon. But just below the dark cloud, if I zoom in, you might see that the cloud does not actually extend all the way to the horizon. There is a tiny bit of pink sliver sticking out there. That presents the opportunity for color to come through in really interesting ways as the sun reaches that point, and as those clouds move, they should be moving towards us. That should increase the sliver of light on the horizon, making for even more interesting things.
Now, back to my reasons. Before I moved to Tampa, I spent years living and traveling in 40 US states and 37 countries, so I've experienced extreme hot, cold, dry, and humid weather all over the world. Now I've lived in Tampa for over 1 year, so I've experienced all 4 seasons here. Yes, 4 seasons. Between living in a camper van with no climate control in May and June, to spending an hour outside filming sunsets almost every night, I've spent over 1 year checking Tampa's forecast and comparing it to what it actually feels like outside. So now I can give you an accurate description of the best and worst weather times in Tampa.
The sun has started to drop into the sliver on the horizon, and as I predicted, I think that part of the cloud has gotten better. There's this really beautiful pink glow in the center.
Before we dive into the list, I want to clarify that when I say Tampa, I'm referring to the entire Tampa Bay area, including St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Sarasota, and all the beautiful beaches in between. While the weather is generally the same, there are microclimate differences. For example, I've noticed the Gulf and Bay coastlines tend to have a constant breeze that keeps things comfortable, while the inland areas can feel stagnant when it's humid. But severe thunderstorms are more likely on the Gulf Coast because that's usually where storms hit land first. By the time the storm travels across the beaches and over the bay, they've usually lost some strength and sometimes have no rain left for where I'm filming here in South Tampa. But on the north side of Tampa, storms sometimes dump torrential rain on destinations like Busch Gardens, Zoo Tampa, and the University of South Florida, while Tampa and South Tampa don't get a drop. So those are some potential differences to consider when planning your trip. That pink glow where the sun went down is holding steady.
It is very interesting how it's only that very small section of the horizon right now, with a little bit of yellow in those upper level white clouds, and don't know what's going to happen beyond this, but I'm hoping for that color to spread. Oh, here we go, nice flock coming through. Those were the white ibises. Well, we are starting to get a bit of color showing on the far right. Let me show you. There's that nice dark cloud, but a little bit of color on that horizon. And another big flock of birds flying through from left to right. Always from left to right. Always going to their island for the evening. That pink line cutting through the dark cloud is pretty cool.
Now on to the list of when not to visit Tampa. I've got 4 time periods for you to avoid, so let's start at the bottom with number 4, hurricane season. This is officially June through November. It is a wild card though, because Tampa rarely gets hit by hurricanes, so you don't really need to avoid the entire hurricane season. You just need to avoid any days when a tropical storm or hurricane is in Tampa's forecast, and avoid specific neighborhoods that were recently damaged and still cleaning up from a hurricane. For example,
the thing that stands out so different today is the amount of patches of algae just everywhere in the foreground all the way out to the midground. I think that's because the hurricane a few days ago had apparently blown them all out of here. But now it's high tide, and there's this gentle wave that's pushing all the bits of algae towards us. And at the same time, creating an incredible amount of bugs.
Hurricane Idalia hit right here just 6 days ago, and Tampa is completely fine. Yet 1 hour north of Tampa, a vacation town got flooded. I met a homeowner from the flooded town, and he told me their curbs were lined with broken dishwashers, refrigerators, and other junk ready for trash pickup, and it would probably take about a month to get most things operational again. Of course, the cleanup duration can vary greatly depending on how badly a place was hit, but the damage might only impact a few streets near the water, while the rest of the city might be fine and even discounting everything to attract visitors. So after a hurricane could actually be a good time to visit Tampa. Just make sure you check your specific destination right before you travel. If you do book a trip to Tampa during hurricane season, I recommend using any of these 3 methods. 1. Book last minute, so you can confirm the 10-day forecast is clear. 2. Book far in advance but buy travel insurance and read the weather policy to make sure it will cover you. Or 3, the best option, which is to book everything fully refundable up to the day before your trip, because that's when a hurricane's path and severity becomes fairly sure.
I'm enjoying this really calm setting here on the right. Gentle colors, the slightest bit of a ripple in the water reflecting everything.
The third worst time when I'd say do not visit the Tampa area beaches in particular is during the 3 summer holiday periods. This includes Memorial Day weekend, the week of Independence Day starting with the weekend before to the weekend after it, and Labor Day weekend. This is when the beach zones are crowded and expensive, so it's not the best experience. Instead of going to the beach, locals spend these summer holidays at a pool.
This wide-angle view is capturing all the best parts. All the glows are happening to the right, and actually the pink cloud is highlighting even more in the center.
The number 2 time to not visit the Tampa Bay area is during spring break. This generally starts in early March and might last until late April. The busiest weeks to avoid are the weeks before and after Easter, which can be any time from March 22nd to April 25th. Just like with the summer holidays, spring break is crowded and costs extra. Certain places also get a sudden influx of children or college kids, which can be a pro or a con, depending on your perspective. If you'd like to see us create more and better videos like this, please consider helping us with a one-time tip on PayPal, Zelle, or Venmo, or a recurring donation on Patreon. If you're the kind of person who tips a waiter a little extra for brightening your day, or buys dinner for a friend who helped you out, then why not do the same for a video creator? Even just a few dollars helps us cover expenses, hire help, upgrade equipment, and dedicate more time to improving for you. The best thing you can do is become a Patreon supporter. We have many levels to choose from, so you can be first to find out everything we're working on, contribute your ideas to future videos, or get your name in our credits. Links are in the description below, or pause this video and scan a QR code. It's people like you who keep us going, so thank you so much for your support.
It's hard to believe that this is a big bay in the ocean, and it's this smooth, flat, glassy, such a gentle wave. Let's take another look to the left. We can see even more pink clouds getting highlighted.
If you'd like to be an Owls insider, you need to subscribe to our email list, linked in the description below. It's the closest free thing to being our Patreon supporter.
We now have some big shadow rays being cast on the left, and some faint ones on the right, with some interesting mixture of highlighted bright pink clouds in the center, with that orange glow behind them. Ooh, and the bridge is looking really nice now.
If you're enjoying this video, please let us know with a like and subscribe. These are quick, free ways to show your appreciation and tell YouTube this video deserves more views. If you'd like to be notified every time we publish a new video, click the subscribed bell, then select all.
The beams on the left are really pronounced now, with gentle beams on the right, and a lot more color coming through. The color is not just here in the center, but really reflecting off the water and the sky to the right. Ooh, there's a spider crawling up right in front of the lens. Oh, sorry, it wasn't focused on it, I just saw it. I was about to give you a panoramic view of all that's going on now. God, this is really nice orange glow on the horizon. The pink accents in the dark clouds in the center. And rays coming out gently on the right still, and really pronounced on the left.
And the number one time when I'd say don't travel to Tampa is during the peak heat and humidity of summer, which is June, July, and August. These are the months when the afternoons are sometimes so hot and humid, you'll break a sweat just walking across a parking lot. When there is no breeze, the air feels thick, like you could cut it with a knife. And the ocean gets so warm, the shallow water at the beaches does not have that cool, refreshing feeling. And the beaches can sometimes close due to sudden blooms of algae or seaweed. Tampa also gets the most rain and severe thunderstorms during these humid months, so summer is the worst time to visit Tampa.
This is a really interesting composition, with an X pattern being formed on the left by the dark shadow rays and on the right by those angled dark clouds, all pointing at the colorful horizon in the middle, where you've got this pink purple on the right half of the glowing part and this pastel yellow glowing on the right half, or the left half of the center.
Contrary to popular belief, Tampa is not humid all day every day. Summers can be quite pleasant, especially in the mornings and evenings, or any day that has a constant breeze. Tampa actually has the nicest summer climate I've ever lived in, because the temperatures mostly stay under 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and the humidity varies greatly from moderately low to very high. This makes the summer much more bearable compared to places with slightly cooler temperatures, yet constantly high humidity that always feels sticky, like the Great Lakes region. Or places with drier yet hotter temperatures, like Dallas, Texas, and desert areas that always feel like an oven outside. And there is a big difference between Tampa's subtropical climate and the tropical climates of the Caribbean and Cancun. There they have similar temperatures, yet very high humidity that makes the air feel like a wet sauna. Despite how much I love living in Tampa's summer weather, it really is not the best time to visit Tampa for all of the reasons mentioned earlier.
I'm loving this closer view of the composition with those harsh shadow rays and the colors, but the bugs are just swarming around my head like they normally never do.
So when is the best time of year to visit the Tampa Bay area? I think there's 3 peak periods. These feature lovely weather, lower costs, less crowds, and lots to do. Let's start with number 3, winter. This lasts from roughly mid-January through mid-February. Tampa's winters are so mild, us non-Floridians might consider it more like an extended late autumn, but with 0 chance of snow. We did lose all of the leaves on the deciduous trees, but the daily lows usually didn't drop below 43, and afternoon temperatures often stayed in the upper 50s to lower 60s. Some days in January even hit 80. I did notice one day when the air temperature was 36 with a feels-like temperature of 32. Thankfully, that was rare. Just make sure you bring clothes for summer and cold autumn weather. But definitely leave your puffy jacket and fur-lined boots at home, and don't count on swimming at the beach. The weather isn't the only good thing about visiting Tampa in winter. You'll also find lower costs on airfare and hotels, no crowds, and a good chance of sunshine. But even better, January is peak manatee season, where you can see hundreds of wild manatees in their protected areas. And there's a giant pirate parade called Gasparilla, which is Tampa's largest event of the year. Overall, if you're looking to escape a freezing, snowy, gray winter where you live, Tampa is the perfect solution.
There's this really beautiful contrast between the orange glow and the blue sky. That is your classic sunset colors. Really, the most unfortunate thing about this sunset is the quantity of bugs, both on my head and biting my feet and on my hands when I'm trying to pan the camera. It's probably one of the worst bug nights I've encountered so far, so I'm just gonna have to leave it on the tripod and hide my fingers in a shirt.
The second best time of year to visit Tampa is in the autumn, which is roughly mid-October through early January. I was most surprised to see Tampa autumn color, with vibrant yellow, orange, and red leaves in December and early January. The temperatures were also warm, yet chilly enough to wear long pants all day, with a lightweight jacket on cool evenings and cloudy afternoons. Don't forget hurricane season technically lasts through November, but in 2023, my South Tampa neighborhood didn't get a drop of rain for 30 days in October to November. And with only 40% humidity, autumn was really pleasant outside. I never imagined the first time I'd live somewhere with 30 days of no rain would be in the supposedly humid state of Florida, but this feat has actually happened twice in my first year here.
At this late hour, I really enjoy the way the angle of the light being so even with the horizon casts a bigger shadow on every ripple and really enhances the ripples and makes each one individually visible. And the way it's reflecting the color is beautiful.
The other time when it didn't rain for a whole month is the number one best time to visit Tampa, which is early April through early May, like until Mother's Day weekend. This is when the temperatures are consistently in the 70s to low 80s, with no rain and very comfortable average humidity. This is also, not surprisingly, when the most festivals and outdoor events happen in Tampa, so there is a lot to do. It's also the perfect temperature for beach swimming, spending all day in an amusement park, or doing anything outside. Just don't forget to avoid the busy spring break weeks before and after Easter, and you're likely to have the best trip to Tampa in April to early May.
Sometimes the pagoda actually makes for the best frame.
Well, how could I resist the Roseate Spoonbill? Such a beautiful bird. Great look at it here.
Let's connect on social media. Links are in the description.
And you can really see its pink color and its fishing or eating behavior. It uses its spoon-shaped bill to dig up stuff from the muddy shallows. And this is what it usually does all night after sunset. Just walks along half the pond, around the edge, finding whatever it can to eat, digging around. There we go, this is its normal behavior, normally kind of digging while walking.
I hope this video helps you plan your perfect trip to Tampa. If you enjoyed watching this sunset, you'll probably enjoy watching the many others on this channel. So click the playlist on your screen now. Subscribe to see more natural beauty in your feed, and I'll catch you in the next one. So which part was your favorite? Please let us know in the comments. Thanks again to each person who supports us, especially our angel investor Patreon supporters. Learn how to get your name in these credits at our Patreon link in the description.